Well, hello and welcome to the Movie Paradise. I am your host, Nathanael Molnár, and this is our spoiler discussion for the new film, Aquaman. Now, if you have not seen the movie yet, do not watch this video because we are talking all things to do with Aquaman. It's going to be full of spoilers, if you can't tell by the title. So if you have not seen the movie, do not check out this video. Come back later after you have seen the film. I am your host, Nathanael Molnár. I'm joined by Rob Giachinta, our co-host. Thanks for being here.
Spoiler alert, this movie stinks.
Yeah, I think that's a short thing. Now, some of you may disagree. Some of you may agree. All we can do is give our opinion. So, Rob, let's start with what are your first impressions of Aquaman?
Just an absolutely bloated CGI mess of a film. I haven't seen a movie like this in a while where it's just so much CGI just being thrown. I know, but it's an Aquaman film, Rob. I understand that, but you need to, as the audience, we need to be able to see what's actually going on in these scenes.
Yeah.
A movie like Avatar is completely CGI, but I could tell what was going on in that movie.
Yeah.
This is just bloated, like, CGI battles, and there's so much battle fatigue with this movie, and you don't even, half the time, you don't even know what the hell anybody's fighting for in this movie.
Yeah, that's one thing.
I don't even know anybody's motivations, really.
See, I think if the film had a stronger story, then I think with all the same action, we would have been into it more because the action and the scenes of violence and the battles, it all would have meant something. The fact that the story is as weak as it is and as underdeveloped as it is, we don't care about what's going on. And so when we have all these scenes of action, it doesn't mean anything. So why should we give a shit?
I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. We don't.
And I thought a lot of the performances seemed very bland to me. Jason Momoa, I think, just really playing himself, to be completely honest. Yeah. And Amber Heard, I've never really been a big fan of her. Patrick Wilson is just ridiculous in the role. Like, Ocean Master screaming at the top of his lungs. Everybody's screaming in this movie.
Once I have attained the final orb, I will finally become Ocean Master.
Everybody proclaims their name to the audience, like it's The Room, or like
you have killed my father. You can now call me Black Manta.
Like,
no one should be declaring the name. Rob. When have you ever gone? You can call me Rob Giachinta.
Yeah, like they're trying to set these movies up as realistic. Yeah. Correct.
Or somewhat. Like, as realistic as you can get with an underwater world.
So, like, the names were generated for the comic books. The names aren't necessarily really generated for the movie. So, like, I don't understand why, like a character, would want, like, a character like Aquaman. How would you take someone like that seriously if he goes around saying, my name's Aquaman? Like,
you can't.
Fuck, your name's Arthur Curry, you're trying to help people out.
I thought the whole casting of Jason Momoa was to try to make us take him seriously.
Yeah, no, I
didn't then they go against it by putting him in the orange outfit and make him call himself Aquaman.
I didn't mind the suit.
I agree. Well, I remember I said that to you in the theater. I was like, I don't mind the costume. You're like, who cares? The movie sucks.
Now that I'm actually just talking about it. But.
Well, to be fair, like the Aquaman costume fit in with what Mero was wearing. Like it fit in. And I will say this. I know we kind of got off of. I was going to do my first impressions, but we kind of get off.
You know what we thought.
I will say the one big positive I have about this film, and I feel like I don't want to not say it, because I feel like it would be an injustice. The production design, the costume design, the concept art, the art direction, all of those elements, fantastic. All of the design, like everything, because when I was watching this film, and I was watching, like, when they go into Atlantis, and you see every aspect of Atlantis, I was just thinking, the amount of time it must have taken for someone to completely design all this, because there's no point, other than the comic books, there's no point of reference. Like, it's different if you're creating art direction for, I don't know, just some regular movie, where it's all based in the real world, and on Earth, and everything, and it's just like a room, and you're just putting props in a room. They had to create an entire underwater world, and for the amount of time that must have gone into to design everything and to make it look the way it was, I don't want to not say that and not give them props, because I feel like you have a bad movie, and let's call it what it is. In our opinion, Aquaman is a bad movie. You have terrible acting, I think. You have terrible characters, not a great story. all that. It's easy for
shaky direction too from someone that I think is one of the best working today.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This was not a good job.
We'll get into James Wan in a second, but it's easy for all those other elements to overshadow the fact that you had such great design elements, production, costume, character, concept artist, all that. It's easy for the bad stuff to outweigh that and to overshadow it. So I don't want those people who spent so much time to create and bring this world to life. I don't want that to go unstated.
There were definitely a lot of talented people that worked on this movie. And, I agree. If they made a sequel to this, I would somewhat be intrigued, but I think they definitely, I think there needs to be new screenwriters, new director. I think they need.
God,
but I am okay with the world that they set up. I'm just not okay with the characters they put into it.
So
many bad characters.
I think the biggest issues with this movie is the script.
The villains are garbage. Both of them.
They have great actors.
They gave Black Manta an interesting motivation too, but
it was the execution.
Yeah, he was such a stupid character though. Like,
if you take everything that happens in this movie and you put it down, maybe not in the form of a script, but if you wrote up maybe like a 3-page treatment and just say this happens, then this, then this, then this, it sounds great. Mm-hmm. It sounds, you have all the makings. It's all the execution. Like, you can take, I don't want to compare it to Marvel, but let's compare to Marvel.
Oh, here we go again, Marvel fanboy.
I'm paid by Marvel to say that I hate Aquaman. But
I wish I was. I just
hated it. You look at something like Marvel, they can do something like a villain's father's killed by a hero. They even did it in Civil War. The parents, the villain's parent is killed by a hero, or they flipped it.
Black Panther's father was killed too.
Yeah, and it's all about the execution. It's not the fact. It's not that happens. That's not the issue. The issue is that it was so poorly executed. It was that the actor who plays Black Manta, Yahya Abdul-Mateen II.
Excuse me. He's in Us. Too.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm not going to blame him because he probably just did what James Wan told him to do.
I've seen him in other stuff.
Yeah, but fine. It was a hammy performance. Yeah. It had shades of Paul Giamatti in Amazing Spider-Man 2.
They give him all that equipment, and then he's got that terrible music playing, and he's spray painting all his crap. Oh my god!
Yeah.
What was the point? So you can call yourself I Am Black Manta?
Why don't the only reason? I would rather they just gave him the suit.
It was black. Yeah.
They should have just given him the suit, the black suit as is. Just give it to him and go have fun. Go with it. Do whatever.
Didn't he heat up the helmet so much it freaking exploded?
Yeah. Yeah.
What was your opinion on his costume in general?
I mean, I like the design of it. I think it looks cool. I love the look of it. I just feel like
that football head. I don't know if I could get.
I feel like that could be done well. Maybe. I just feel like it didn't work in this.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of elements in this. Like, you have such a great cast. You have so many talented actors. Patrick Wilson's in this. You have Amber Heard. I actually didn't mind Amber Heard in this. I thought she was probably the best out of all of them. Maybe. Willem Dafoe, Jaimin Hansu for 2 lines, Julie Andrews for 2 lines. You have a lot of great... Dolph Lundgren. I don't know if I can call him a great actor. But you have a lot of great talented actors in this, and it's just wasted. Yeah. And I feel like it all falls on James Wan, which is hard to say because he's such a great director, and I love his work. I love Conjuring 1 and 2. I love Furious 7. I love everything.
I like the Insidious movies too.
I haven't seen those myself. Okay. But he is such a great director, and even look at Conjuring. Yeah. He proves it's not just that it's a good movie and he's the director. You can tell that he you can see the work that he put into it, and you can see how talented of a director he actually is in those movies. And then to go to something like Aquaman, where the the crux of the problems of Aquaman fall on the directing. I don't know how you can drop the ball so majorly.
Do you think that I think a lot of this might be Warner Brothers to blame. I feel like they got so much backlash for their movies because their movies were so dark that now that they were completely dark, and now instead of meeting the halfway point, they've gone completely light. Because this was this was a cartoon for a lot of it. You got freaking crab people I will avenge it, all this crap,
that was so
dumb
bad.
Crap, the whole movie.
We will never bow down and call you master. Oh my god, there were so many bad parts.
Oh my god. I wanted to leave so bad. If I wasn't with all of you guys, I would have left.
Yeah, I honestly, I wanted to, but I knew I was going to have to review it.
If there weren't reserved seats like in other movie theaters, I was definitely going to go walk in and watch like Spider-Man or I even thought about seeing Welcome to Marwen or something.
God, I don't understand. I just don't understand.
The script wasn't good. Did he do the script too? Or?
I don't know. I probably should have looked it up.
Jeff Johns worked a lot on the...
Oh, there you go.
He's not a screenwriter.
You can also... He's not a filmmaker. Make him making movies.
You can also tell that this movie has gone through different phases of the DC universe, and it's kind of like an amalgamation of one. Like it's like some of it's like the new what they're trying to do with like Shazam and Birds of Prey, and some of it's kind of left over from Justice League.
It's definitely. I think that's a great point. It's definitely in the middle. Like you could definitely tell this is the first movie that's kind of like the child of the DCU.
It's just a big studio movie. That's
DCU
why I have a hard time blaming James Wan. Like I know, obviously he did work on it, and like he deserves the blame as a director. But like I really have just a feeling that like Warner Brothers had their hands all in this too. Yeah, I think they're equally to blame. They just besides Wonder Woman, and I like Batman v Superman, but like I just feel like they keep juggling. They just need to learn how to just make good movies, then later on figure out how to tie them together. Exactly. That's why Wonder Woman's the best one. Because
I don't think you can say that the problem is that it's connected to the rest of the DCU, because Aquaman isn't. Aquaman is a completely standalone film. I think the problem with all of these DCU movies has nothing to do with the fact that it's part of a cinematic universe. It has nothing to do with the tone. It has nothing to do with any of these. It's the fact that they don't have good writers writing good movies.
That too.
That's the issue. If Batman v Superman, you like it, I like some parts of it.
And I agree it has faults. I'm not going to say it's perfect.
But you could take Batman v Superman, if it was written better, it could have been awesome. Yeah. If you take Suicide Squad, and if it was written better, it could have been awesome. If you take any of these movies that people...
Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League. Written better, could have been awesome.
Yeah, how does your Justice League movie stink? I still can't get up.
The issue isn't that it's part of a cinematic universe. The issue isn't... I feel like all these things that people blame...
Yeah, people blame it that, like, they needed to do all the standalone movies first and then do...
None of this is the issue. The issue is that they don't have well-written scripts and good movies. They don't... That's the issue. It has nothing to do with the formula. It has nothing to do with the tone. It has nothing to do with the fact that it's part of a cinematic universe. It's purely and simply, they just don't have good writers writing good movies. And I can't even say they don't have good directors, because James Wan is a great director.
David Ayer's made some good movies. Zack Snyder's made a lot of good movies. Patty Jenkins.
Yeah. Taking Wonder Woman out of this whole thing, because I think everyone mostly agrees that's a good movie.
That's worked on DC films. I believe. David.
Well, so we got David Sandberg.
Do you think that's... I still think that's going to be good. I still do.
I don't know. I feel like that tone fits that movie better.
Well, that movie looks like it kind of looks like it doesn't even like take place in the DCU.
I feel like that one could work.
We'll see.
I think
the Joker movie will be good too.
Well, and that's its own thing. So, but I think Shazam, I'm holding my breath because when was the last... Well, Wonder Woman was the last one I liked. And before that was Man of Steel. I didn't like Batman v Superman. I didn't like Suicide Squad. I didn't like Aquaman. I didn't like Justice League. So what reason is there for me to think that Shazam's going to be any different? So I'm holding my breath. But
Aquaman's making a ton of money, too. Yeah. So, like, why... Do you think they're going to change anything? Or, like, if they make the sequel?
I think
the sequel's announced.
I think it's another thing like Venom. We didn't like it. But for a lot of people, Aquaman has 66 on Rotten Tomatoes?
Something like that.
So more people thought it was good. And I think with the fans, you're seeing the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I think, even though for us it's clear as day, this movie has lots of issues, for a lot of other people it works.
Because if the sequel is like, if I'm hearing like, it's just as good as the original, I'm not going. I'm not going to waste my time. I already said I'm not doing Venom 2.
Yeah.
I'm done. I don't care.
And I think for me,
I'm scared superhero movies are just going to resort to this.
Well,
it seems like besides like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, all these other ones are kind of resorting to this 80s, 90s campy tone to their movies too. And
I think part of it is they're looking at the tone that Marvel has struck,
and they're trying to copycat it.
Yeah, And I don't think Aquaman is directly that's just a Marvel movie. Like, I don't think it's directly that, but you can definitely tell, compared to especially like Batman v Superman and Man of Steel and all these, they definitely took some Marvel influence. They're like, hey, let's make it a little bit more lighthearted. Let's add a little bit more comedy. Let's do this. And they just didn't do it
Comedy doesn't work in this movie whatsoever. Yeah. Did you laugh once? I laughed at how bad it was.
I know. I laughed at it.
Yeah.
I didn't laugh at any of their intended jokes. Because I don't even know what was intended to be a joke.
that too. Yeah. Like the crab screaming. Was that intended to be funny? Or was that...
I don't fucking know.
I'm trying to... Like, a lot of this movie I blacked out of my head.
Yeah. It was... Oh, God. Just... I remember...
The actor who played the teenage version of Aquaman...
Oh, man.
He was awful. He was one of the worst actors I've seen.
I'm ready to be king! Or whatever you said.
He was like Ninth Life of Louis Drax or him. Child performer.
Oh, man.
That was close.
The young Jason Momoa was even better than the teenage.
Arthur's talking in the fish.
When that happened, I laughed out loud. I've heard that. Well, I didn't realize that in the movie he was actually literally going to be talking to the... I thought they were just like fucking around with him. But literally in the movie he's like, hey, how you doing? Oh, yeah, I gotta go, so I'll see you later. I was like, honestly, beat the kid up. Like, he's literally talking to the fish. That's weird. Beat the shit out of him.
And then the shark hits the glass and he's just standing there looking at everybody. And everyone's
and then he's got all the fish behind him and he's like... And of course, zoom up of it. Every superhero now has to have glowing eyes.
Yeah, that's...
Every superhero. Yeah. Like... Christ, this movie
they never really, in my opinion, I never really learned, what Aquaman's, weaknesses or...
Yeah. Well, they never...
you couldn't shoot him.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't understand because it was a little inconsistent. Because in the very beginning of the movie, he takes a bullet.
Yeah, they bounce right off him, I think.
But then later, Manta is slicing him up with a sword and it's cutting through him and he's bleeding out.
I think, this is just me assuming, that the Aquaman people, or whatever, the
Atlanteans.
The Atlanteans have their own technology that can, or that makes weapons that can...
Oh, that's true. Although I thought it was the same blade. I thought that was the point.
I don't know.
Because didn't Black Manta say, they'll remember me by this, and it was the same blade as he used before.
Maybe his grandpa got that from the Atlanteans, a lot. I don't know. So I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But that was another thing that bothered me.
Well, and because I didn't even realize until more than halfway to the movie that Aquaman was supposed to be more powerful than a regular Atlantean. I mean, we just found that out now. His powers and Mara's powers were different because they were royalty than the regular Atlantean, but they never established that. They just started, I felt like they were introducing new things that they could do.
Now, which ones could breathe outside of water? Just the royalty ones, or?
I don't even know. See, that's the thing. They never established
because Willem Dafoe's character was on the sand for a scene.
And the movie had enough exposition that they could have done this. There was so much blatant exposition.
In every scene.
We have to get to the place to do the thing in order to save everybody.
That whole sequence in the desert could have been cut out of the movie. None of that was needed.
Could have just peed on it.
She's like, oh, we need some water. You could have spit on it.
Right.
You could have cut that all out of the movie. It would have been fine. You could have worked around it.
It
was way too long.
2.5 hours.
Fuck that. 150 at the most. That's all.
That's the movie down.
They don't. Oh my god. I'm telling you, at least this year, there's been so many movies that have been way too effing long. I don't know who's greenlighting these. Stop it.
Yeah, I don't know.
And, it'd be one thing if you were I don't see really what you could cut out. There's tons of shit in this movie, at least. Yeah. I think you could cut out. The Damon Hansu thing,
Jaimon
get rid of it.
That whole scene, get that out.
The desert scene, get out.
I
don't know. I'd have to watch it again. But
any of the stuff when they're just fucking around in Sicily. Before the fight. Literally. What was that? Okay, here's my big problem. So the Mara's standing there, and she's making seahorses or whatever the fuck in the fountain. And the little girl comes up with a picture book of Pinocchio, hands it to her, walks away. Who the fuck goes up to some random person you've never met and just hands them a book and walks away.
And like
a Pinocchio book.
And it was only meant to so like she could see the scene where like the whale.
Yeah, like and then it made no sense. Sense.
So didn't he say when he was in the whale, like he was like, "Oh, I saw this in a movie once."
Yeah.
No, he said I read it it was in a book once or something like that.
Yeah, and then she was like, "You didn't tell me it was a children's book."
And he was Who cares? But then he was like, "Oh, I didn't know it was a book. I've only seen the movie." But I was like, "You said it was a book."
James Wan.
Well, that's just on the script. You gotta.
Who knows? We don't know.
I don't know. This was just a mess. Everybody deserves blame. Everybody. Except for the people that were in charge of like the effects.
Yeah. I mean, even the CGI.
But I did appreciate...
The design, I think the design elements is where it's good. The CGI was kind of iffy.
A lot of, like, the people that were, like... I was glad that they used a lot of practical, like, costumes, though. That was, like those people in the white suits. Yeah. Those actually looked pretty good. I was glad they weren't just CGI, like, things.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
I mean, we're grasping at straws.
Oh, and, all right, and Nicole Kidman's terrible. Unless...
You knew... You tell me one fucking... idiot that didn't know that was her.
Even Cole yelled at her.
Even Cole's like,
oh, I wonder who that is. So when we were sitting in the theater, our friend, like, because, what was it? You didn't see who it was?
It was just this, like, person with, like, a mask on with, like...
We all knew!
Like, old white hair sticking out of the back, and she's, like, pulling this person to the shore.
I don't think there was one person in the theater who did not know that was Nicole Kidman.
Because you don't get Nicole Kidman for just a couple scenes at the beginning.
You get Jaimin Hansen for 2 lines. Everybody
knew she was coming back. Like, there was even scenes with her later in the movie that we hadn't seen yet, so, like, in the trailer.
Wow. I know. Well, see, this movie... It's so cheesy, and it's so forced.
And you absolutely know Aquaman's going to win in the end, too. Yeah. I mean, like, it's just... Oh, my God. There was, like... It came to a point... There was no
stakes, no emotion.
It came to a point watching the movie where I was like,
why am I
here?
Yeah. Like, anytime anything would happen, even the action. Like, when the action was going down, all I could think is, why should I care?
No.
I mean, is it... cool the way it's shot.
Why do I care about all these random like crabs and sharks beating the crap out of each other?
So let's talk about that ending battle.
Yeah.
Like shades of The Hobbit, the Battle of Five Armies. But so literally I felt like, I don't know, maybe it was planted earlier in the movie and I just missed it, but it felt like this came out of nowhere. Like, I mean, we had been hearing that Orm was wanting to, like, invade the surface world.
Like
but all these other kingdoms just came out of nowhere, and suddenly there are crab people
yelling at each other.
We will avenge our leader! Like, crab people and crocodile things and sharks, and they're riding seahorses, and literally a battle comes out of fucking nowhere, and suddenly everyone starts fighting, and it's explosions, and it's like, when I saw the trailers for this movie, and I saw that scene, I was like, that's going to be awesome.
Agreed.
But when you actually watch the movie and you get to it, again, it comes down to, why do I care? Why should I care? None of this means anything to me. Because I don't care about any of the characters. I don't care. I'm never for once feeling like, I hope Orm doesn't invade the surface world. I don't give a shit. Like, I'm never once thinking, oh, I hope Aquaman saves the day. I don't care.
Another, like, so Superman is still, like I said in the movie, Superman is technically still alive in this universe. I know we might not see him for a while. So even if Orm did make it to the surface level, Superman could friggin' like slice all their heads off.
Yeah.
Well,
all I can think is that they didn't know about Superman.
Yeah.
And who knows? Actually, I didn't realize this, but there was one line in it. I missed this. I don't know if you heard it. Maybe. But Mara, when she recruits Aquaman, she says, you defeated Steppenwolf, and now we need your help.
Oh, I remember.
I didn't pick up on that. I heard about that later. So they probably had to know.
Yeah.
Someone had to know at least.
So they really think they were going to make it to the surface world and take over the whole surface world with Flash, Cyborg, Superman, Wonder Woman, all on this earth.
Okay, so let's think. Like, even if you look at it, the fact that this is the aftermath of Justice League, Steppenwolf, a creature from another world, invades with an entire literal army of parademons, and they're stopped. And like,
you think you're friggin' alligators and seahorses?
Once they get to the land, they can't do anything. Literally, all they can do is swim.
Hey, get over here! No.
What was their... I don't think they had a plan. I think they're going to get to the surface and be like, yeah, we're here! Now what? And honestly, like even all the stuff that they were talking about, like the reason why they were invading was because of like pollution and everything. Like that could have been really powerful.
That was something like I was actually interested in.
That could have been really good.
They barely touched on it.
Look at Black Panther. Mm-hmm. They did such a similar thing where their villain is motivated by like a real tangible reason.
Well, he wants their technology shared, while they want want revenge.
Killmonger was wanting to like kill everyone because of colonization and all that. So, and like racism and all these things, and it's a similar thing where you can understand where the villain's coming from. The villain has a real point. The villain has a point. Same with Orm. He had a point. Like, literally, when you think about it, if this was real life and you had a whole underwater colony, we're dumping all of our shit into the oceans like 24/7, killing all their animals and everything. Like, it made sense. But they fumbled the execution of it so much that something that could have been powerful and emotional and resonated with the audience and actually had like a good, solid message, it didn't mean anything.
Botched it.
They did. They completely botched it. Going into final thoughts, I guess, I would say, when I saw Venom earlier this year, I was angry. With this movie, I was disappointed. And I think the reason why I was disappointed is that when you're making this movie, you have literally endless possibilities. You are exploring the depths of the scene. You can literally, as like a creative person myself, I was like getting excited with all the possibilities of what you could create and what you could make for a film. And I feel like they just went for the most traditional, conventional, cheesy, most average film you possibly could have made. And it just never really explored. We've seen James Wan in his other movies. He is a creative force, and he is a creative filmmaker. He comes up with lots of crazy ideas, and he's such a creative person. And I feel like this movie, aside from the production and design elements, like narrative-wise and everything, it was completely void of creativity. And that was that was disappointing for me. I will say, though, I forgot to mention, I did like the scene with the piranha people. The piranha creatures, that was cool. And there were some good shots. Like, it was in the trailers, but I love that shot where Aquaman and Mera are diving down into the water and they have like the red flare and all the creatures are swimming after. That's a beautiful shot. But I like that scene because I feel like it was kind of going to James Wan's horror roots.
Agreed.
And I think that's probably one of the stronger scenes in the movie because of that. But I just think this movie, it fumbled. They fumbled it. I just feel like they had an opportunity to do something really special and really cool. And I feel like they had such great talent behind this. They had great cast, great director, and it just all got completely messed up. I thought all the performances, even from people like Nicole Kidman, Academy Award
winner.
Nicole Kidman.
Willem Dafoe, Academy Award nominee.
Exactly.
Dolph Lundgren. Drago.
Yeah, that essentially sums it up. You had such great people involved, and I thought all the performances were bad. I mean, I think Amber Heard probably gave the best one, and she wasn't even that great. Like, yes. I didn't think I think Jason Momoa, like, stumbled through a lot of his lines.
He seemed like he was, like, drunk for a while.
Well, it probably was.
Maybe. I heard some, like, Amber Heard was, like, maybe she was, like, forgetting her lines or something like that, and he, like smacked the book right out of her hand. Like, the script book. Yeah.
Whatever. Who gives a shit?
Yeah. So, my final thoughts would be, like, I think that the difference between this and Venom is, I feel like Venom had, like, they gave him, like, we're only allowed to spend a certain amount of money on this. Like, this is, like, kind of like a test kind of movie to see if we can do more in this universe. I feel like DC gave everything it could.
This was definitely over $200 million to make this.
They gave so many resources. Like, there was so much to work with here, and it just did not amalgamate to anything decent.
I agree. And when I think of the filmmaking process, if you're going to spend over $200 million production budget, not even counting marketing, to make this movie, and you're going to spend all of that money and so much of your universe hinges on this movie, why would you just go, oh, the screenplay, not great, but good enough, we'll go well. Like, I feel like you would spend so much more time perfecting the script.
Yeah, I wouldn't have minded if we had waited for this one.
Yeah, because I think the script is the biggest problem.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
It felt like someone handed Troma like $200 million and said, "Go make your own Aquaman movie."
Although it wasn't, I
think that would have been more fun though. To be honest.
See, I wasn't laughing at this like I was like The Room or Samurai Cop or Toxic Avenger or anything like that. But I will say, like, I was just I felt embarrassed. I felt embarrassed.
I also felt embarrassed because like I was telling people like, "Oh, I think this is gonna be awesome. Let's all go." We convinced everybody to go see it.
And I felt bad for the people sitting in the theater watching it with us. But yeah,
some people clapped.
So well, before we end, I want to ask you this: how do you rank the DC cinematic universe now?
I would go Wonder Woman, Batman v Superman, Man of Steel. What the hell else is there? Oh, Justice League, Suicide Squad, Aquaman. I
would go Man of Steel, Wonder Woman, Batman v Superman, Justice League, Aquaman, Suicide Squad. And I'll pose it to this. Not which would you, if you had to pick one, which do you see? Which do you think is better, Venom or Aquaman? A better film. Because I know when I asked you this last time, you're like, Venom because it's shorter. But not which one would you rather see? Which one's the better film?
Slightly Aquaman. Like I
agree. I think it's Aquaman.
Like a smidge.
I think Aquaman
like
is
they're
the
like
better movie.
rubbing up against each other.
Oh, great. All right.
At least like Venom, like I thought there was more like laugh out loud moments at how bad it was.
Yeah. This was just hard to get through. This was just painful.
It was a slog.
Venom was like, we were cracking up like, what the hell? Like, lobster diving? What the fuck is this? But in Aquaman, it was just boring and bleh and just...
wanted to leave.
Oh, God. All right, so out of 5, what do you give Aquaman?
I'd give this 1.9 seahorses out of 5.
All right, I'm going to give it a 1.8 out of 5. And that has been our spoiler discussion for Aquaman. What do you think? I'm assuming if you've watched this, you've had a chance to see it, so what are your spoiler thoughts on the film? Leave that in the comment section below. Well, once again, I'm your host, Nathanael Molnár. This is Rob Giachinta. Thanks for being here.
You're welcome.
Make sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content, and also be sure to check us out on all of our various social medias at Movie Paradise 99. Thanks, everyone.